So I thought about it, and I think it might finally be time for a little studio tour. The Blue Note is my studio, which is called like that because it's built in a blue shed in my garden. I have my friend Nicholas to thank for this fantastic name. The studio is a tiny, tiny, tiny space, and it's not in tip-top shape at all. So you need to excuse me, but I figured that it's never gonna be in tip-top shape because I'm a pretty messy person when it comes to this creative space. I like to have stuff around, an instrument to play around with. So this is as good as it gets. And I shot this little video tour with my handheld camera. I really hope you like it, and thank you so much for watching. All right, here we are. Welcome to the Blue Note. As you can tell, it's a tiny space which is a bit packed with gear. But don't be fooled, you don't need any of it to write beautiful music, and it certainly doesn't make me a better musician. This is just the stuff that I enjoy using and I accumulated over many years and stayed with me during my musical journey. So let's get started. I'm just gonna, do a geographic tour of it, and just gonna start from my right, which is a bit messy actually. Over there is a parcel that I need to ship. It's actually an Arturia Mini Brew 2 that I decided to sell because I wasn't using it anymore. So there's a bit of a mess. The studio is not in tip-top shape, but it's never gonna be. So I decided that I'm going to do this anyway. And the first thing that I have on my right is like this bookshelf filled with books. I love books, read them all the time, and these are all my music related books. And this is stuff that I still to this day use all the time. I have Land Gold Behind Bars, which is ready to be taken every time I have an engraving on a notation doubt. I have my fantastic Patch and Tweak book that I use for the Modular. My orchestration book in the Adler, the Italian edition. This is all stuff that I constantly love to refer to and use all the time, so it comes quite handy. Here, let me step back. I have some light. This is stuff that I use for my video production. I have a China cymbal, which I love. This is a fantastic horror machine that gets plugged in, and you can make all sort of weird noises for it. I think this is called MP019. It's made in Italy by Azam Bells. It's a fantastic guy that makes this really awesome stuff. This is one of my many microphones. It's a little Aston mic that I actually love to use on my wife. Her voice sounds really good through that. This is a very treated, very dry room, but when we need something extra dry, especially because my wife occasionally does some voiceovers, we even use that extra shield, and it's pretty good. Here are all my guitars. I have a Gretsch baritone. I don't have any super expensive guitar. I think all my guitars are in the 500 to 1,000 pounds range, but I like to have options, so I have quite a few of them. That is my Gretsch baritone, which is tuned to low A at the moment. This is a jazz bass. This is a Squier Jaguar, which I really love, that sort of short scale Fender sound. The electronic is an absolute mess, doesn't stay in tune, needs a setup, but I can get some really cool tones with it, which I love. Telecasters, I love Telecasters. Both of these, actually that one is a Chinese Telecaster thin line player. Where I replaced the P90s with Seymour Duncan Antiquities, and now it absolutely sounds fantastic. I really love it. And this is sort of I think it's called a modern player, Mexican Telecaster. I'm not very much of a big acoustic player. I typically hire other people to play acoustic, but I do have a little Blue Ridge guitar, which sounds nice. This is my Fender Telecaster. It's another Mexican. This is like a Vintera one, which sounds really good. Very sort of vintage tone. This is my nylon string acoustic, nothing special. It's a little Yamaha, which I do kind of like the sound of it when it's mic'd. Let's see, this is a Gibson SG. I love this guitar. This is a guitar that my friends gave me for my birthday, something like 20 years ago. So has a massive sentimental value for me. And this is a really cool Ibanez, sort of the heavy look. It has DiMarzio, Air Norton, and Tone Zone pickup on it, which sounds very nice. And let's keep moving. Let's go. Actually, before we go to synth word, let's have a look at the guitar pedals. This is my pedal board. What do we have here? I have double muff. This is my pedal from my childhood years when I played in, rock bands, that kind of thing. These are DOD Carcosa fuzz, which sounds absolutely gnarly. Strymon Deco, which I use a lot with the synths as well. The Microcosm, amazing pedal, absolutely love it. These are Deluxe Memory Boy. Another pedal from my childhood. This is the Super Overdrive Boss SD1, pretty classic pedal, which I've owned for, I think, something like 25 years or something like that. This is a little Boss tremolo pedal. The Strymon Iridium, I don't pretty much own any amp other than this one that I'm going to show you in a second. These are basically my virtual amps. I used to have a Line 6 Helix rack, but I sort of downgraded to this one, and I like how this one sounds even better. So I'm very happy with the choice. It's sort of an impulse response based virtual amp in a box kind of thing. This is the Strymon Nice Guy, a fantastic reverb pedal. These three I mostly use with synths as well, with guitar. So let's maybe move here for a second. I do have those two crappy Behringer patch bass, which I use a lot, and basically everything in the studio can go into everything else if I want to. So you can get very creative and do all sort of weird stuff. This is one of my favorite synths. This is the synth that I always recommend when someone asks me to recommend them a synth to get started in synth world. It's a fantastic polyphonic analog synth. It's the Korg Minilog XT. I have an Arturia drum brute, which sounds again very raw, very analog. Sample this to death. This is in a lot of stuff that I do. I tend to use it in a very cinematic and processed way, which I really love, even though it's technically more of a, obviously, techno machine kind of thing. But it's very nice. Another drum machine, which I'm actually not using a whole lot, so I'm considering selling it, but it's staying here for now, is an Electron Cycles. I do tend to, pretty much sell right away the stuff that I haven't used in a while. So everything that you see here, I pretty much use. This one I'm starting to think about it. But it does sound very good, and it's very unique. It's sort of an FM-based groove box. So it might stay, still don't know. And this is my Modular, my pride and joy. I'm not gonna go into, all of my modules, but I do love it. There are a couple of things that are important with this setup, and that is the way that I make it work with my computer, and is this Express Leapers ES9. So basically the computer recognizes the Modular as another audio interface, so I can really, send clock info from the computer into here. I can record different channels. I can do all sort of stuff. And same thing for the Arturia Keystep Pro. I use this to sequence this, but also to make it talk with my computer. This is USB, so it's sort of a secondary way together with the ES9 to send clock information or MIDI information from the computer to the Modular. I sample my Modular a lot, so another thing that I do, that I use the Keystep Pro for, is to sort of send MIDI notes to the Modular, and sort of sampling it in my sampling template, which I need to make a video about at one point because it's really cool. I have a couple of instruments here. This is a Bode Psaltery. This is a really lovely lyre. It sounds so beautiful, and again, the stuff I use very much for sound design. I've mentioned the case that is also in the Modular, which I really love, has been made by a guy in Wales that has this website called Synth, and he built studio furniture for years, and I really love this case. It's powered by Tip Top Audio Zeus Studio Bus, which are very powerful. I can mount many modules in it. I'm very happy about this. This is my iPad Pro. I use the iPad Pro in a number of ways. I use it to write with StaffPad. I use it with MetaGrid. I use it in some ways with the Modular as well. So it's kind of, now it's here, at other times it's on my main desk. It sort of changes its position in the studio a lot. This is a new entry. I bought it in Italy in last summer, and this is a Tascam, old Tascam Porta Studio. These things cost a fortune now for whatever reason, and I found one that was pretty beat up. It has like a massive burn here, that the power supply needed changing, and I did that, and now it sort of works, and I'm absolutely loving it. I am making some really weird experiments with it, and I'm again sampled so much stuff. I love how pianos sound through this thing. You have this very speed that where you can slow down tape, and you can get so many great stuff with it. And for this reason here, I have lots of tape loops. I have very long ones, like this 10 minutes one. I have a great guy in London, let me see if I can do this with just one hand, probably not, that is making this 30 and 40 seconds tape loops for me. And he also wrote me this very kind note, so thank you, that's really cool. I really want to open this. Let me see. I want to show you how beautiful they are. Look what work of art is made. Making tape loops is fun, but it takes a long time, a lot of time. So I tend to, basically buy them already made. This is my main desk, which is a bit of a mess at the moment. I, as you can tell, recently updated to Big Sur. Don't know if it was a mistake just yet. We'll find out. I have, my main computer is on basically maxed out iMac from 2019. So that essentially means that it has 128 gigabyte. It's quite powerful. It's an 8-core. My main monitors are Focal Studio Shapes. Again, pretty happy with them. I'm considering getting a second pair, but I'm not quite sure I need them, so I'll figure it out eventually. This is my main studio interface, which is an RME Fireface 802. This is some of my favorite preamps, Focusrite ISA 2. I love Focusrite preamps. This is a little Behringer ADA, I think this is called 8000 or something like that. I might be wrong. This is just to have 8 extra channels that I use occasionally if I need to power in some more synths. They're sort of, you see that here, they're patched to the patch bay. So if I need something with really lots of inputs, like for example, if I'm sampling a drum machine and the one control over every single channel, I use that, and it's quite effective. My main keyboard for now is this Native Instruments Complete K49, I think this one is called. I like it, it's good. I sort of need to use this one because developing instruments that have NKS integration, I need something to test them on. But it is good. I like it. My main MIDI controller is the Icon Platform X Plus. I have these one are the two that I use the most. This is CC11 and CC1 that I sort of write together, but I have other stuff mapped to things like vibrato, legato speed, that kind of thing. And I have this last one that has a that controls the volume of the metronome, which is quite useful. Going to the other rack, what do we have? Let's move the fake plant. I have an Avalon U5, which I mostly use for electric bass, as a DI box for electric bass, but it has some other uses as well. Occasionally use it for something else. This is a Twinfinity 710 preamp, which is really cool and is an hybrid solid state N tube preamp, so you can blend between the two. Sounds really good. I got this ages ago and still use it a lot. This is, you know, my 4 SSD drives with all my samples. Those are 2 terabytes each at the moment, so you have 8 terabytes of samples. There is still a bit of space, but not much, unfortunately. So I might need to replace some of them, but we'll figure it out. What have I missed? Oh yeah, I have a little Stream Deck over here, which has some different functions for video streaming, but also Cubase. This is mostly for when I'm not using the iPad, because when I'm on Cubase, I normally have my iPad Pro over here with Metagrade open, and I have a lot of functions over there. This is a little camera that I use to make video content together with the Elgato, how is it called? The light something, key light or something like that, which is a great video light. I have all this video equipment because I do a lot of video content for Krotos, so that's essentially what I use this stuff for. This is my piano station. So as you can tell, I was never a massive fan of having huge keyboards on my main desk because they take lots of space. I like having, you know, a bit of space to rest, and I also, you know, every time that I'm writing for strings or brass, that kind of stuff, I actually prefer a sort of keyboard synth keybed rather than, you know, a full weighted piano one. So when I'm writing for piano, I have my Kawai controller here, which I absolutely love. There's a MIDI controller, but it feels absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely not a piano player, but I do write music at the piano, and it's, you know, quite handy. I do have a secondary keyboard and mouse over here, so the idea, and I also have a second pair of speakers. I have some tiny IK multimedia speakers here, and this monitor, it's actually mirroring the main one, so it's not a secondary monitor. So when I'm Cubase and I want to write something for piano, all I do is click on speaker B, and these are the speaker Bs, and I can sit down at the piano, sketch stuff, and then I'm back to production and mixing mode, so to speak. I think this is pretty much everything. As you can tell, a small space, well, boy do I have fun in here. It's well treated. Actually, the sound treatment, it's even a bit more than would be needed. The reason is that it was the sound treatment for my old studio, which was about 2 times the size. So even if I did get rid of a couple of things, I used as much as possible. There are bass traps over there. Those are diffusers, and the bookshelf sort of acts like a natural diffuser. What else? It does have a couple of room nodes that are really annoying, and there are a couple of frequencies that really build up. But with some bass traps mixed with, you know, knowing the room, double checking with headphones, and using Sound ID, which I do have pretty much constantly on in control room in Cubase, I make it work, and I am pretty happy with it. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.